The 2024 USA Cycling Gravel National Championships took place in downtown Gering this past weekend. The first riders took off at around 6 a.m. from the Gering Civic Center with a staggered start for the shorter distances. The groups raced their way around the Scottsbluff County area before returning to the Gering Civic Center to finish. Many different riders of all ages were in attendance for this event, and the top finishers for each age group and distance were crowned national champions. There was a 25-mile, a 57-mile, an 88-mile, and a 131-mile course for the riders to participate in. The winners of the 131-mile course were crowned the elite national champions for the year. Brennan Wirtz was the winner for the men, coming in at a time of 5 hours and 51 minutes, and Lauren Stevens defended her national title and took home the gold for the women with a time of 6 hours and 32 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, joy for sure, relief. This was definitely the biggest goal for my season this year. And I got a pretty bad case of COVID like 4 weeks ago, right around Steamboat, and had to sit that one out, and Gravel Worlds in Nebraska out. And so those are all races I was really looking forward to. So this one was also a big question mark, whether or not I'd be able to come and perform, but it's a course that really suits me well. These rollers, this kind of deep sandy gravel, it's just all about power. I kind of questioned it all day, to be honest. Yeah, I was out there like, yeah, you just worry about like your long-term health, you know, is this the right call? But I've talked with my coach tons and tons, and the Orange Seal Academy who are supporting me, and they've been great with making sure that we're on the right track and just staying calm and relaxed and knowing that the rest in the end was going to be more beneficial than trying to overdo it. I mean, I was in the second chase group that split off from the front of the pack. I don't know, less than an hour into the race, and we were driving it pretty hard and eventually caught the front group, but right as we made contact with the very front of the race, the peloton caught us, so then it all came back together. And then we were in this really deep sand pit on this climb, and I struggled a little bit there and lost the group, but then got in the chase group, was able to come back, and that was kind of the story of the day, just fighting back. I really felt I didn't have any punch in my legs, so I knew I just had to be way more tactical than normal. I would say often I'm more emotional racer and not always the smartest or most tactical, and today I for sure had to be a little more tactical, knowing that I was, missing quite a few of the matches from the match book. I got gapped off just slightly through the cemetery section, through that riverbed. Couldn't see anything, super thick white powdery dust, and had a little bit of a gap, and then I was, 10 or 20 meters off the back of the group with Eno, and then just ripped it down that straightaway. Saw them kind of looking at each other, sitting up a little bit, and had momentum to come through, and I knew if I was able to come through and keep that gap, just sort of, get the gap, I'd be able to maintain it. This finish is perfect for me. It's like 2% tailwind, road downhill. A lot of guys this weekend were on mountain bike tires. I know that's kind of been a big talk, but I still went high volume, but I went for the slicks and kind of my more all-road bike from Mosaic that has really big road gears, knowing that I wanted to optimize for the final if I did make it. Yeah, there's a group of 10 of us going in, and there were some attacks coming into it. I got just gapped off a little bit coming out of it, and then was able to catch back on the road section. I didn't know I was going to win the race, I think, until I came around the final corner and looked over my shoulder and didn't see anyone, and then I knew I had it.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. We had a little rain last night, so the sand was not quite as much as we were all expecting. So some girls had really big tires, which I think ended up not being the best choice, but I went with some 45 mils, which I think worked out for me really well. I was a lot less nervous this year than last year. I think there was a lot more unknown since we'd never done a women's only start before last year. So I was a lot calmer coming into today. I was focused on being sure I was going to be strong through the sand section. One of the climbs on the furthest out point had some really deep sand where some girls even had to get off and walk. So that was the most important section, just to have energy, and that's where we ended up making a break of 3 that initially was away for most of the day. So Emily had gone up the road solo, and Alexis and I came across to her on the sandy climb, and then on one of the climbs out there we lost to Emily and Alexis and I knew we had Paige and Lauren De Crescenzo chasing behind, so we just kind of made a chase but waited on them a little bit, and then we were 4 riders coming through the feet. Yeah, after that point I was just focused on attacking on the last climb. I knew that that's where I wanted to go, and I knew I needed to save enough energy to make it to the finish solo. There was a few attacks coming into the climb and like on the climb, but then yeah, when I made my attack on the steepest part, I straight away got a decent gap, and at one point there were 2 together chasing behind, and then eventually it was just Lauren De Crescenzo chasing me, and I was getting a gap of 45 seconds multiple times, and then finally I heard 50 seconds, and I was like, okay. Then I heard 55, and from then on I knew it was just being sure I didn't cramp. You know, it was about when I hit that 500 meter mark, I just started soaking it in, and it's really exciting to get to wear the Stars and Stripes for another year. I felt like this year the race was a little more dynamic than last year. We had a break of 4 or 5 really early last year that stayed away, where this year we had a break, some riders came back, and yeah, so it was a really interesting race. I actually made a slower course at the beginning because like the roads were still pretty heavy, still holding that moisture from last night, which made for a slower road.
USA Cycling representatives said that they were thankful for all of the work that the city and local organizers did to make this event possible for the past 2 years. Be sure to check out the community calendar and more stories from around the area on our website at www.aroundthetownnews.wordpress.com. Thanks for watching Around the Town News.